Right. Following on, Mark, the book of Mark. I'm doing the book of Mark, chapter 7 today. I'm just going to run through because as we haven't got time, I can't see the time unless I put on my glasses. This part of the Bible started with Jesus and the Pharisees, always the Pharisees and the scribes. They're always looking for how to nail Jesus, you know. And it started with talking about his disciples not washing their hands before they eat, blah, blah, blah. And Jesus said, oh, come on, this is not the important thing. The important thing is the things of the heart. It's not about the tradition of men. It's about the tradition of heaven. And the disciples, they just couldn't understand this. And they went back and still asked Jesus more. And this brings us to the part of the Bible that says, from the heart flows the issue of life. It's all about the heart. Jesus is very much concerned about the heart. And no wonder he's very concerned about what goes into the heart, because it is out of it that life comes through the mouth. If the heart is soiled, the mouth can speak the right things. You've got to guard your heart. Now, this moves on. I'm going to move on. That's not where I'm going today. He moves on from there, and Jesus, in his normal self, ran away from the crowd. So I'm going to go into somewhere and just sit and stay away from everyone so they don't, so I can have some rest. Jesus, you're joking. Jesus cannot run away from anyone. He went in there thinking, I'm going to hide and no one is going to see me. I'll be here and just take a rest. No, he couldn't. Why? Because Jesus has got this power. Jesus has got this light that follows him everywhere. He cannot hide. You can't hide if you've got God's Spirit inside of you. You cannot, because his power, his light radiates from your inside to the outside, and the world can see it. And this is what happened when Jesus went in there. Now, this brings me into the main thing that I want to talk about today. We want to talk about a phenomenal character in the Bible. Yet again, a woman. I'm not being sexist. But do you know the power that you have as a woman? Men, please forgive me today. I'm going to come back to you. But women, can I just tell you, do you know the power that you have as a woman? In fact, in the course of the life of Jesus, never mind he called the disciples, but you see every encounter every encounter he had with a woman was a special one. Every single encounter. They worshiped Jesus so much that even Jesus himself was wondering, what is this? One used her hair to wipe Jesus' feet. What manner of worship is that? There was something I said during our women's worship. When Jesus died and he left and he was buried, when they went back to the tomb, the disciples came there. They looked, normal man, he's not there. Let's go. Well, he said he's going to rise up. Let's see. Let's just go. We'll see. But Mary Magdalene, she didn't leave. She stayed back there. That is a woman. She stayed back there looking for this her Jesus. The Syrophoenician woman. I hope I said it correctly. Let's read this. Mark chapter 7, verses 24. Jesus got up and went away from there to the region of Tyre. And when he had entered the house, he wanted no one to know of it. Yet he could not escape notice. He went to Tyre. I did some research. I wanted to know where this Tyre is. Now, this Tyre or Sidon was a place for the Gentiles, really? Something like that from my research. But after hearing of him, a woman whose little daughter had an unclean spirit immediately came and fell at his feet. A woman who heard Now, this woman, just so I let you know, because Jesus was in her region, the region of the Gentiles. It wasn't about the Jews. Now, the way the Bible put it, it looked like Jesus came for the Jews and not for the Gentiles. You know, if you read the Bible, most times they say, well, Jesus came actually from the, is it tribe of Jews? Something like that. But Jesus had moved from this place and gone to this Tyre, which was a place for the Gentiles. And that's why that woman, she heard that Jesus who does miracle, he has come. He's with us. He's here. She only heard. She had never experienced this Jesus. She has never seen any miracle. She only heard. But guess what? Immediately, the Bible recorded that immediately she came. She did not wait because she knew who this Jesus was. Now, when I say knew, she had not experienced him, like I said, but just hearing what she heard, she put it in here and she began to work with it. Immediately, that is what the Bible recorded. She came. She knew. She believed this Jesus is going to do it. I've heard so much about this man. It's my turn to take from this incredible man. The Bible said she came and fell at his feet. Every time you hear someone falls at Jesus' feet, that signifies worship. That signifies submission. Jesus, I am here for you. That's what she was saying. Jesus, this is me. This is me, Jesus. She fell at his feet at worship. All she wanted to do was just worship him. Worship. She understood the power of worship. Meanwhile, this woman was a Gentile. She was not a Jew. She didn't really know this Jesus. She only heard. What have you done with what you've heard about this Jesus? What have you done? Have you heard so much about this Jesus that is beginning to whine away and you're beginning to say, oh, well, I've heard he did this, he hasn't done mine, you know. That was not what this woman, that was not her case. She came and she fell at his feet. Now, the woman was a Gentile. Now, they're telling us of the Syrophoenician race. And she kept asking. That is what my version, I don't know how your version is. The Bible said, and she kept asking him to cast the demon out of her daughter. She kept asking over and over. If you go, this same thing was written in Matthew. And in that account, we were told that the disciples, because she kept asking, she was like a pest. The disciples said, oh, please, just tell this woman to get out, man. She's disturbing us, man. Let me speak like that. Tell her to get out, man. She's disturbing us, man. What kind of a woman is this? Oh, goodness me. She kept asking. She didn't stop. To the extent they wanted to deprive her from her blessing. They wanted to take her away. But no, she wouldn't take that. I have come to see Jesus today, and I'm going to take what I've come for. That was her mindset. And she stayed. Let's go on. And he was saying to her, this is Jesus now, oh, come on, woman. Let the children be satisfied first. For it is not good to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs. Whew. That sounds like an insult. It sounded like Jesus was telling her, you are no better than a dog. I feel like crying now. But that woman, she didn't take no offense to that. That woman did not take no offense to that answer. It felt like a no. It felt like, no, you're not having this. How do you feel when you've called upon God over and over and over and over and over again, and it seems like there is no answer? Do you get offended? When I lost my younger sister at the age of 15, now this is someone who rarely even knows her dad because her dad died when she was very young. That's me. And then I lost my sister along the way at 15 years old. I hated God. I cursed God because I felt, no, you couldn't do this to me. How? You've taken away one and now there is another. She was all I had. And she was gone. And I took offense. But God was just starting with me. He was about to build Kelechi up. Do you take offense when you've asked? And the answer seems no. What do you do then? That is the question I'm asking today. What did this woman do? When Jesus said that to her, did she take offense and say, come on, Jesus, do you know what? I don't even know what they're talking about. It's just, I'm out. No, she didn't. The power of persistence. She stayed back there. She took that word. She knew this Jesus. She's heard about this Jesus. She's heard about his power. And she was not about to let her blessings to go. She was there for her daughter. And she was going to take that she came for. She was serious about business with Jesus. The Bible recorded. But, I like that word, but. I underlined it, and I wrote it down in my paper. I haven't even opened it. But, for those of you who probably studied English, or you know it, you know what but means. Oh, she's a beautiful woman, she's this, a but. Oh, God, that spoils the whole thing. Oh, you were so good in your performance, but. Oof, spoiled everything, oh, God. After all this that Jesus had said, the Bible recorded that this special, this incredible woman, but she answered and said to him, oh, Jesus, you don't know who you're dealing with today. I am different. I've come for my daughter. I'm not leaving this place without taking the blessings for my daughter. My child is sick. Now here is the power of a woman again. She's not going to give up until she gets that she wants for her child. But she answered and said to him, yes, Lord, not a problem. I understand. But even the dogs under the table feed on the children's crumbs. There is so much to learn from just this little phrase. Yes, Lord, I agree. I'm not arguing with you. You've come for the Jews. That is true. That is where the blessing should go. Yes, however, I am here today, Lord, and I've come to take mine too. Even the dogs eat the crumbs under the chair. What does that mean? This woman understood something. That the power of Jesus is so much that you don't need all of it. You need just a bit of it. Just a crumb. Just a leftover. And your miracle is there. The power is huge, ladies and gentlemen. Just a crumb. That's all you need. And the blessing is there. This woman understood this. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, you don't need all of the power. It is so big. It is so mighty. This Jesus, this incredible man, this extraordinary special strategist, this impossibility specialist, this man who left heaven and came on earth and rode on a donkey, this man who sits in heaven and yet his robe fills the earth, this Jesus, she knew the power that this Jesus had, and she was not about to let go, and she recognized that just a crumb from this man can do what she wanted, and she said it to him, but the crumbs under the table, Jesus, that's all I need. That's all I need. That's all I need. I don't need all of the bread, Jesus. Just a tiny bit. That's all I need. That's all I need, Jesus, because I know your power is so huge. That little crumb, I'm going to have that little crumb. I'm going to take that little crumb, and I'm going to do something with this little crumb. Because Jesus, your power is so huge. I'm not taking offense to what you've said, but she heard about Jesus, and she worked in her heart, and she worked over it. She chewed over it. She meditated upon it. She said, I am going for what I've come here for. I am not leaving this place until I get that I've come here for. Is that the way you act today? Or when you've prayed and it seems like there is no answer, then you say, well, I'm not sure if this God can actually hear me. Now, let me give you a testimony of my life. Once, whilst I was still young, I heard someone talk about giving birth like the Hebrew woman. Now, I was still maybe like a youth, you know? And I said, that's the way I'm going to have my children. That's the way I'm going to have my children like the Hebrew woman. Because my mother told me that she had a C-section for all her children. I'm like, no, I don't want that for myself. I chose for myself what I wanted to have. I've said this to my life group before. And then, many years later, it was time to have my own baby. And as I was there, I laid down on the bed. I've been in labor for some time, and that was for days in my first child. And before I went in there, I'd already called him. I said, God, remember the covenant we had. I'm having my child normal. Now, that is not to say if you have your child by C-section. No, if you have to, then you have to. That is medical. My mother had it. But I, as a person, made up my mind, this is it. And then came that time, after all this time, after I've made so much noise and made so much that this is how it's going to be. Suddenly, as I laid there, somebody looked at the monitor, and the child's breath, what do they call it, Julia? You know this. Where the midwives, the thing just went like that. It wasn't going up and down. And somebody looked. The other one looked. In fact, it was Davies that first saw it. I think, thank God he recognized. I wouldn't have known probably if it was me. And he ran. There was no nurse there. I don't have no family. It was just me and him. No family, nobody, so nothing. It was just us there. And then he ran. He called the nurse. Come in. Come see something. And then she looked. Oh, my God. Oh, she ran. She called another one. They looked. Oh, I could just see everyone running helter-skelter. Everyone would just go. Boop, 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 boop. The next thing they say, we have to go. That's what I have. We have to go. We have to move. Apparently, this thing has been there for some time, and no one even noticed it. They wheeled me out of the ward. And quick, went into somewhere. Doctor, before I know, doctor, this one came in, that one came in. They said, listen, madam, you have to have a C-section now. Baby is in distress. You are in distress. I think I had high blood pressure or whatever. I don't even know. My head was pounding. Everything was going wrong. Everything was going wrong. You have to have a C-section. Suddenly I remembered, no, that is not the covenant. That is not what I asked for. That is not what I agreed with you, Jesus. He said, listen, you need to sign this now. We don't have time. Baby has to come out. You got to. I said, hold on, doctor. I remember that's not the covenant. That's not the promise. That is not it. I'm not taking no for an answer. I said, doctor, 1 minute. Can you let me go back? I literally said it to him. I can't be bothered. Can you let me go back to my Jesus? He looked at me like, right, we don't have any time. I'm just going to prepare to put on what I need now. We're going into the theater. Quick. Just 1 minute. I turned my head towards the wall. And I said, Jesus, that wasn't the plan. Jesus, I know you can do this. The time has come again to show yourself, Jesus. Do something. They were still looking. Everybody was still looking. The doctor came back in. Right, ready now? We're willing you. I said, hold on, doctor. Have you signed it? Hold on, doctor. I've got a covenant. I've got an appointment. Hold on, doctor. 1 more minute, doctor. No, we cannot take any more time. We got to go. And suddenly, I said, doctor, look. He said, what? He looked. Oh. So right, we got to wait a little bit and see more because he wanted to be sure. said, gosh. You know what he said to me? He said, this your God has answered you. I said, well, your heart desire is finally answered. He said, nurses, take her back to the ward. That was it. C-section cancelled. It was an emergency. It was not planned. It was not scheduled. It was an emergency C-section that had to happen because this child was in distress. Because I was in distress. She was going to go. They wanted to do it quickly. But I remembered this Jesus. That I needed just that crumb. I needed to go back and say, Jesus, that was not the plan. That was not the covenant. I know that you can do this. He did it. He did it. If you haven't gotten anything out of this today, remember, all you need is the leftover. All you need is the crumb from this big power. That is all you need because this Jesus is so powerful. Let's get on. And Jesus said to her, because of this answer, go, the demon has gone out of your daughter. Because of this answer, it was not a complete no. The answer Jesus gave to her at first was not a complete no. Now, do not mistake a time to wait and a time to cry out more and a time to be persistent in your prayer. Do not mistake it for a no, because it could just be that God wants you to be persistent. He wants to pull out that faith out of you. It could be that is what? It is not a no. Wait. Call out more. Scream out that name, Jesus, again. He never disappoints. He's always on time. He's an incredible one. His power overflows. All you need is a crumb, ladies and gentlemen, and you get your healing, and you get your situation. Now listen, when I was preparing for this, I said, God, what do you want me to tell them today? Holy Spirit, what do you want to say? Congratulations to anyone that is hearing this and you think this is for you. He said, stories are being rewritten today. Life stories are changing today. New stories are being written today. Take yours. Has something been said before and you think this is it? I am stuck here. I'm going nowhere. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, stories are being rewritten today. New stories are being written again today. Watch out. Look out. That is what God is saying today. Your story is changing. It's no longer the same. Something is happening. Something is going on. Because this my Jesus, the one that I know, he can do it. Listen, I haven't got time to tell you everything about this my Jesus. He can do anything and everything.